All right. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Let's get everybody in here. So, as usual, we will wait 5 minutes for everybody to get here. And then we will take it from there. Nancy, my number one fan. Good morning. How you doing? Hope you're having a wonderful day. Let's see. Jobless claims came out again, and the numbers slightly above what was forecasted. Bullets Garage, good morning, my man. Eric, good morning. Mr. Needham, good morning. Joshua, good morning. Hope you guys are having a wonderful morning and are excited to get going. So we'll wait 5 minutes till 8:35 as usual, and then we'll get it cracking. All right. Lots of moving names today. We had earnings, lots of earnings yesterday, and some interesting things actually. Let's see. CRM was one of them. Snow was the other one. Build-A-Bear actually had pretty good numbers. And of course, Ulta. Interesting with Build-A-Bear. These damn companies making good money, man. All right. Timoji, good morning. Good morning. What's your trading style and what tips you share with trading? I'm mainly patterns. I need to see a pattern. I need to see a setup. I have my support and resistance lines, and I trade what works. I don't trade anticipations. I don't trade. I mean, there's times where I trade anticipation of a breakout of a technical or of a pattern, but I don't try to predict news. I don't try to predict anything. So I'm mainly chart guy, and I trade the patterns on there. Babish, good morning. Vishnu, good morning. DKNG moving well. Yeah, DKNG's been moving well since yesterday. Let's see what it's at now. Checking it this morning. Yeah. So we need that 60-50 break on DKNG to move higher here. Babish, let's smash the like button. Yes, sir. RF91, sup. Skyzen, good morning. Adil, good morning. People slowly rolling in here. All right. So, guys, if you guys are tuning in here, go ahead and smash that like button. I do believe YouTube likes it, and I would greatly appreciate it. Mr. Needham, and you're the best. No, you're the best. All right, one more minute here and we'll get cracking. Perfect. All right, so we got 8:35 a.m. We waited the 5 minutes for everyone to get here. I'm sure they'll slowly roll in. So let's just get right to it. As always, start with what the market is doing as a whole. All right, so where are we at? We had obviously last week where we had, the entire world screaming that the world's going to come to an end again. So we hit that 50-day moving average and we bounced right back up. Right now, we're moving up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, technically 5 consecutive green days in a row here. And one thing that's kind of not concerning, but one thing to make note of is the decreasing volume here, right? Obviously, that's a sign of divergence. Doesn't mean that, oh my God, here's the first sign that we're going to crash. It just means that, every time we have these nice moves up, we kind of tend to go sideways until we catch up to the moving averages, right? It kind of happened here where we kind of shot up, moved sideways, hit the moving average. Kind of happened here again, and then the range gets very tiny until we eventually break out. So these kind of moves, once more here, we kind of went sideways until we hit that 20-day moving average and then went higher. So these sudden bursts higher cause these, I guess, smaller range days where we really have to be careful with jumping in and out of positions, okay? Especially for those of you that are day trading. You need range for a day trade to pretty much work very well for you. And unless there is market range or a news related range, then that stock is not going to make much of a movement. All right. So, I mean, we are a little bit extended from the 20. We had this nice 5-day push here. Now, now the volumes may be coming back in a little bit. Ideally, we need to either go sideways, catch up to the 20-day moving average, or just break out and bust it open, and then we can kind of see another move higher into the upper bands, right? But let's zoom in a little bit and let's discuss levels, right? So obviously we can see that, without me putting my lines up, you can pretty much tell me where your resistance is right here, right? That 448.50, 448 area has been a very strong resistance the last 3 days. And yesterday we kind of broke above it. And currently in the pre-market, we're holding that level as we're trying to fight against it right now, right? So it's a little bit of a pull here in the market. But what's the game plan, right? So ideally, we can see that we have this, again, we have this 448.50, 448.15 area to kind of monitor. And what we're looking for here is if we can get back above this, if we can hold these 448.50, 448.20 level, we can see a nice push towards that 450 area, which is right here, which ultimately kind of matches up with yesterday's high. Now, if we break that, we have room to go to the 452, right? These numbers, obviously the 450 being a psychological number, the 452 is a pivot point to the upside given the fibs on the way up here. And then above that, guys, we're really going to need some sort of strength, some sort of volume to kind of push that thing higher to get it going. But ideally, I think this is the top that we might see today. Unless we see some serious volume come in, I don't think we're going to get past this 452. So something to monitor there as well, okay? Now, on the downside, obviously, we're now coming down a little bit, testing that 48.15 level. If we fail to hold above this, then we kind of open up the doors, to fall towards that 447.50, right? Which right here is pretty much lining up with our support area, right, on the previous few days. And then if we lose the 447.50, we're looking for a pull down to the 446.50 and then ultimately the 445, right? Why is that? Obviously, because we've had this nice push up. Not much price action has taken place here, right? So when we lose this 447.50, 446.50, these are minor support areas just because of the move up here, right? If we lose that, then we can very well come back down to the 445.30, all right? So as you can see, we're getting a little bit of a bounce right here, right at the touch of the 448.50 level. So again, just these things to kind of monitor. Stay above, we can possibly see 450, 452. Fall below, the end target can possibly be 445. So keep that in mind in the back of your head as you're trading. Obviously, understand that what the market does, most sectors will do the same. All right, so let's go back and look at the cues on the daily here. All right, what do we got? We got the same story. We kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, 3 solid green days of pushing. And we're kind of going sideways here a little bit and slightly showing more weakness in comparison to the SPY as of yesterday. Okay. So this tells us that we could very well try to come back and retest these highs right here. So previously we broke out above this 370 area. So we could very easily come back and retest that level before we try to move any higher. So that's one thing to know. And also that same story, right? If once we're push up like this, we kind of tend to go sideways until we catch up to the moving averages, right? Or we pull back, retest the breakout area and continue higher. Now, if we zoom into the closer time frames, again, we've had a struggle around this 375, 375.50 area, right? Clearly, that's right there. So every time we come up to it, we struggle to get above it. And obviously now we're kind of rejecting it here, right? So on the downside, if we pull down here, we're looking to see if we can hold that 373 level, right? If we can't hold the 373 level, we're going to fall to the 372.47. Right, again right here 372.50, which is minor support once again. And if we lose that, 370.69, which is coming down to this area right here. And lastly, the 369.66 will hold, and then that's pretty much it on the downside here. I have 368.84 as well. 368.84 will put us right here, right around this area right here. Okay, now if we break that to the top side, and pull my lines back up. If you break that to the top side, right, if we can get out of this 375 level, we're looking for a push to, sorry, give me 1 second. If we push out of this one, we're looking at a move towards the 376 area, right, which is right around here, which is also another pivot point. And over that, we're looking at 377.80, right? We're pretty much brings us up right to here. And we're going to need significant volume again to get over this level, because then it opens us for a move higher. But ultimately, hold above this 375 and then look for a move towards the 378. If we lose the 373, possibility to come down towards this 368.84 is very likely, again, because not much support on the way up here when this big move kind of happened, right? Then when we come and test this area, that's when the retest on the daily will happen. All right, so that's what we're kind of looking at in the market. We've kind of been very range bound, as you can see, the last few days. Not full directional move in one way or the other, except on the 23rd, which was Monday, I believe. So we really need a break with strength, with momentum, to kind of push us in the right direction. If not, we're kind of going to chop around or even kind of come back down, like I said. All right, so with that, I'm going to jump into the chat here, see if any of you guys have any questions regarding any tickers that you want, or any questions in regards to the market in general, and I'll go ahead and answer your questions. So let me take a look at the chat now, and we'll get right to it. Jen Williams, QS went up yesterday. What do you think of it today? So let's look at QS. QS went up yesterday. So I don't really see much of a movement on QS. Didn't really go up. It came up and hit a moving average and rejected and came back down. Not a chart I want to trade. Obviously below all the moving averages. Now even below this 22 level, which is short-term prior resistance. Really needs to clear this 24.76 area for me to even be interested on the short-term side of it, to maybe possibly ride it back towards a 32. We need to get back above the moving averages. Not something that I want to trade currently, as it's just continuously falling down lower and lower and lower. Diana, what happened to Savo? Good question. I think they had news yesterday. Not sure what the news was. Let's pop out. I remember seeing this on a bunch of the news feeds yesterday. possibly something about their Alzheimer's drug. Anyways, not really sure what happened, but that's a heavy, big red day in volume. Sitting at 84.60 currently in the pre-market. Again, nothing really there for me short term to want to trade this thing. Roku swing trade. Under the 200 moving average for me, not something I would swing trade under pretty much all the moving averages, but currently coming down below the 200 moving average. Not interested in it. Didn't do a good job holding that 200 moving average. Came up to it, rejected, and it's still looking like it's a little heavy here. For me to consider this on a swing trade aspect, it's tough because even if it gets back above the 200 moving average, even if it clears the 367 area, it's still going to fight that 375, right? But possibly you can try to wait for it to see if it gets back to the 370 and then try to ride it up. First target would be 375 and then 392 if it gets above that. But again, still under all moving averages and not something I want to touch on the short term. Can you look at QS? I think we just looked at QS. Please take a look at Wish for me. Oh my God, what is with you people? Guys, everyone and their mother is buried on Wish. Everyone is buried on Wish. This thing is not, I don't think, this is going to have a very hard time getting back above that $8 level. Every time it has one green day, the whole world is like, oh my God, I told you Wish was coming back from the dead. Stay away from these trash names, guys. I don't know why you guys bother with these garbage pump and dumps. Everyone and their mother pumped this stock. Okay? The smart people got out at 15 bucks. This company is trash. Look at the fundamentals of what you're buying. OKTA and Snow on the upside today. Let's see. OKTA, nice solid move. Broke above that pivot here. We really need this back above 261. And if it can get back above 261, possibly 262 area, we can try to put it in this gap fill mode. But the issue now remains we have 3 straight green days in a row. Does it have enough juice to push back towards that 270 area? You would have to monitor it above that 267 area. Possible only for a day trade, push towards the 270. Do not swing this. Do not take a position as a swing here. Lots of downside risk and not ready for a swing. For a day trade, possibly there. Snow. Obviously earnings yesterday. Sitting at around 299. I don't mind this. The only thing is it needs to clear 300 for a day trade for a possible move higher here. If it clears 300, you could try to take it on the long side. Again, no swing, only day trade on this one right now as well. Babish Latchman. All right. HUYA. Will it start an uptrend? I haven't even looked at this ticker and I already know it's below $5. Oh, wow. It's not. When will it start an uptrend? When it breaks back above the 20 and the 50 moving average. It needs to do that. It's been a downtrending chart. Constant downtrend. I don't even know where the support on this would be. Let's take a look. Let's go back. Yeah, so I mean you had support right here at $12. It lost that. Now it's in a tough position because everybody who bought from here on is now stuck, right? So a tough position. Earnings didn't really help it. It could very well test 12 and continue its downtrend lower. If it's gonna have any lifeline left, it needs to get back above that 12 area and hold above the 12 in order to move higher here. Otherwise, these moving averages are going to start acting like a resistance, and this thing is just going to continue sideways. It needs to get back above 1210 area. Once it does that, you need to get it above the 50-day moving average for it to push towards the 200 moving average, and then that becomes the next resistance point anyways. So I don't know what your average is on this or what your game plan is, but hopefully you have an understanding of whether you're trading this on the short term or long term. Nancy, support on Jemiah, please. All right. So the last support I had on Jemiah was around 1950. All right. So obviously we broke that. We broke this prior low here. 1694 is the next one. Let's take a look. Yeah, that 1950 was a big area for Jumaya. It lost it, but did a good job pulling back itself above that 1950 again, right? Next area that we're kind of looking at on Jumaya would be this 1440 area. And then under that, let me see, give me 1 second. I gotta zoom my time out. Yeah, under that, we're looking at around 11. Obviously, I don't want it going down to those numbers. But if it does, I mean, my last add on this will probably be around the 1160. I'm hoping it doesn't do that because I'm already down quite a bit on this long-term position. So hopefully it turns things around here, gets back above, holds these 19 levels. Again, it's not going to be a quick move back to the 33, back to the 40 level. It's going to be a sideways move, sideways action for quite some time before we kind of see this thing get going again. Good sign for now. Big buying volume coming in, getting back above the 1950 support. Need to kind of hold and push towards the 2455, and then we'll address it going forward. Downside support 1440, 1160 on that one. Jen Williams, a lot of buzz around big swing. What do you think? A lot of buzz coming from where? So that's important, right? Where is this buzz coming from? You need to understand who these buzzers are, and what's really going on with them. So this is a name that often gets pumped, okay? And I don't like messing with it because look, every time it pops up, damn, stuffed. Pop, damn, stuffed. Pop, stuffed. Pop, stuffed. Pop, stuffed. I don't have a pattern on. Oh shit. Hello? Sorry guys, I don't know why that muted. Um so what I was saying is lots of concerns with the question that you just asked me in regards to lots of buzz around a certain ticker. Buzz doesn't mean you trade it. Buzz doesn't mean there's a pattern. You have to find the pattern yourself and be able to trade that pattern in order to have good risk reward. So I was saying that if you take this trade at around $3, you need to risk at around 2. That's a $1 risk for a possible move to the upside of 4. But the one on the way up, you're gonna fight that 350, right? So you're risking $1 essentially to make 50 cents, and then once you get over that, you can try it at the $4, which then will make you a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Okay, so something to consider. Again, you need proper patterns just to trade. You can't just trade anything just because there's buzz. Your sound went out. Talking about be big. Got it. I think I fixed the sound. Posh, swing, or short-term trade to the upside. Posh. Again, nothing really here for me, right? Downside move, big selling pressure on earnings day. Under all moving averages, broke a big support. Don't really see a support on this. Not interested in swinging this on the long term or the short term at all. CLF. CLF not bad here. The only thing is it's very jumpy. I don't have a specific pattern in it now. Maybe if it sets up, if it gets closer, we have resistance at this 27 area. So ideally, I want it to kind of come up here, consolidate before I take a trade and break over that 27 area. But currently right now, stuck in this 23.55, 25.88 range. Not an ideal setup to swing. However, if you do want to trade this, I would say, have stops at around 22 and then look for targets of around, 26.50, 27. Okay, but again, there's no specific pattern. I don't have a wedge. I don't have a pennant. I don't have a falling wedge. It would specifically just be almost a support and resistance buy. And at that point, you kind of want to wait for it to come back to the 23.50 area. So you have a better risk to reward. And if you're going to risk off the 24 level, if you're going to risk off the 22 level, at least you're only risking $1.55 versus if you buy it right here at 25.50, you're risking $2 to possibly make, about $1 or so, right? So wait for it to come back to that 23.55 and then you can kind of take the trade. Stops at around $2. Again, no real pattern. It would just be an anticipatory support and resistance buy on this one. BNGO, another name that was very popular back in January, February. Lots of people caught in this one as well. Currently, these kind of charts are what I call bag holder charts, right? We have a move from like $1 all the way up to 16. Everyone's chasing this, and then bam, it just falls off the cliff. And everybody who bought up here with these big, massive volumes is kind of stuck. What's happening now below the 200-day moving average? Not a good look right now. It respected it once, shot back up. It tried to hold the line, lost the 200 moving average, and now it's acting as resistance here, right? So we really need to get this thing back above the 200 and the 50, ideally back above 650 in order to see a life come back into this. Otherwise, right now, starting to show a topping wick here, we could very easily come back down towards that 430, 390 area before we try to track back and attempt again at that 200-day moving average on the upside. LSPD hitting all-time highs and approaching the top of the rising channel. Volume is what's flat and decreasing. Good chart here. Good chart here. Nice breakout right here over that 198 level. Volume starting to come back in it. So I'm not sure, are you asking to get a trade on this or what the question is here really? But it did break out, right? So it broke out here, obviously respecting the 20-day moving average for some time, popped back above this area, broke out. Ideally, you can wait for a retest of that 98 level to see if this can continue higher and have stops right around the 98 or even the 95 area. Or you can wait to kind of see it consolidate here before taking the next leg up. So that's one thing to kind of consider. But also take note that every time it gets a little extended, it decides to chop around until it gets back towards the 20-day moving average. So we are a little extended from the 20. You could take the trade here, risking that 95 level for a push towards 105, 110. Or you can wait, be a little bit more patient with it, see if it wants to consolidate sideways a little bit, let the moving averages catch up, and then you can take the trade off the bounce off the 200, off the 20-day moving average. Okay. So, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry we lost audio there for a second. Not sure what happened. I'll have to look into that. But if you guys are still here, go ahead and smash that like button. And don't forget that every Thursday I do go live. And we're here at 8:30 a.m. every Thursday. I'm in a trade. Can you estimate? All right, guys. So, yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. And make sure to DM me. I think RF, you're asking me about exits. Send me a DM and then I'll try to get to your find some targets for you on the upside. All right, guys, have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you next week.